Welcome to Powerful, Wild, and Magical, the podcast for the female leader who wants to reconnect with her true essence, step into her divine feminine power, and make a huge impact in the world. I am your host, Nadia Carcalo, and in today's episode, we have a powerhouse, Alexandria Cordero. Alex is an intuitive business and spiritual coach whose mission is to help uncover your deepest truths and desires so you can live a life full of purpose and fulfillment. Alex specializes in mindfulness practices, human design, tarot, and online business strategies for healers looking into build their own sense of abundance through intuition. In this deep conversation, she shares all about reconnecting to your intuition to manifest your desires. We talk about how intuition speaks to you, why we disconnect from our intuition, how is intuition connected to manifestation, and how you can reconnect to your intuition to live your best life. This episode is juicy and hot. Let's get into it. Hi Alex, welcome to Powerful, Wild and Magical. I'm so excited to have you here. She's such a powerhouse. You have such an amazing energy. Welcome to the show.
Hi Nadia, thank you so much. I've been looking forward to this literally all week long. I feel like when you and I first connected, it was like an instant magical click. So Once you mentioned the podcast, I was like, oh girl, we have to collaborate. So I'm very excited to be here. I'm very grateful. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, like it's amazing how we speak about the energetics and the energy and how people can feel the energy behind when you do things. And it was like instantly when you were texting, I was like, oh my God, her energy is like so magnetic, and your vibe is like when you text and when you talk, like it makes you happy and pumped.
Well, there's two big things to that. And I think that's like, so my mission in life, since I'm a little girl, if you were to ask my family, I used to walk into rooms and just be like, I just want people to feel the light. Like I want them to feel light and bright. Like I want to walk away. And I don't know what 5-year-old Alex thought she was doing, but she was clearly onto something. So I'm really grateful you felt that way. And that would be my biggest like hope and intention from this podcast is anybody who gets to experience anything with me walks away as like this beautiful big light of energy, because that's what we are. And then the second thing is just self-expression, right? Like if we can really ground ourselves in who we are, what we're passionate about, why we're passionate about that thing, and be able to express it really vulnerably, then authenticity just reads so much more pure and it's so much more real. So if you're dealing with someone pure and real and authentic, which you are, Nadia, and I try my best to be in that most self-expressed place, it's magic. It's absolute magic. Every connection should be like that.
And it really means to people. So we are here to shine our light and then make others shine their light as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think
being authentic ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's what we're really. It's so funny. The industry that I'm in, it's everyone trying to always be like everyone else. That imposter syndrome, that comparison syndrome of, well, do I need to have this certificate? Do I need to have this background? And you can add up the resumes all day long. You can add up the certificates all day long. But the one thing that cannot be duplicated, that cannot be carbon copied, is your unique and identifiable light. So the more and more you can own it, the more and more you can express it, you can identify with it, then it's not copyable. There's nothing like it in the entire world. So like your light is magic, it's potent, and its potency is meant to expand you. And I think that's the work I really do with people, is just I literally force them to dig in, grab their light, and harness that energy as they expand into the different variations of themselves. And right now that looks like business, that could look like spiritual development, that could look like just deep intention work. I always tell people, I'm like, no matter what, you can be an accountant or you can be an entrepreneur or you could be anybody. You have a light and it's your responsibility to harness that energy and show it to the world, regardless of who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. So powerful. You
Thank
have
you.
many, many skills and so much knowledge in different areas as a beautiful manifesting generator. But today we decided to discuss about intuition because it's super important to connect to your intuition to manifest your desires. So let's start by talking about what is intuition and what are the different ways intuition can speak to us.
So intuition, I'm so grateful. Whenever I hop on a podcast, the host will always like, what do you want to talk about? What's like passionate to you? And when you literally mentioned intuition, I was like, Nadia, yes, let's dive in. Because intuition, it's the start. We started this conversation about light. Light really starts with your intuitive ability to connect to it. So to me, intuition, especially, I specialize in human design. So how you identify with your intuition is going to change person to person. But I think a really broad or vague way to describe intuition is it's your innate gut feeling of knowing. So for some people, that's like the gut feeling, that gut reaction when you're like, oh, this is good for me. Like I feel empowered, I feel strong. Or the gut reaction that's like, oh, not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Going to take 10 steps back, going to reassess what I should do. Your intuition is your ability to identify with your passion and allowing that to come to the surface so that you can activate and move forward. So for me, whenever I'm working with anybody and even myself, being able to connect with your intuition looks like asking yourself, what do you really desire in this moment? And what is the most authentic way to get there? So for anybody who's looking for that really baseline, like how do I just start getting connected? How do I start really diving into myself? It's just asking yourself first, like, well, what do you want? It's the easiest question to ask and the hardest to answer because it has to come from you. So intuition is identifying, what do you want? What do you desire? What is like really deep down what you're looking to achieve? And through those desires, how can you start right now? What is the first gut feeling you can take? So I would give you an example. Let's say you deeply desire to be in a romantic relationship. You deeply desire to have a partner. You're ready for that phase of your life. So intuitively, what you would need to ask yourself is like, what's the first gut step you need to take? Does that mean opening yourself up to telling your friends like, hey, I'm looking to start dating. Do you have anybody in mind? Does it look like a dating app? Is that your jam? Does it look like having a sick platform on there? I don't know. I never had to have a dating app. I've been with my partner for like 8 years, so I don't know what that's like. But like, I would assume that's what happened.
I'm on a dating app.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't know what that means, but like, I would assume that would be the next intuitive step. That's intuition. It's being able to connect your desires with the very first authentic step towards embodying the desire.
Oh, that's so juicy. I love it. Can intuition speak to us in different ways?
Yeah, so intuition, and that's the beauty of it, is that like for some people it could be this like visceral gut reaction where it's like your gut knows. For some people it's a head thing. It's like it has to be logical for them, where it's like, okay, logically what makes sense for me because if this is what I desire, this is what I need to do first, and this is what I see feeling good. What I could say is it speaks to everyone differently, just depending on things like human design or things like how you were brought up, your upbringing. There's so many different ways that we identify with our intuition. But for anyone who's looking to start, or even if you're deep into it, it's any time in your life you've been able to identify with a resounding yes. So if you went to college and you get these college admission letters and they both say yes, which one is making you feel like the resounding yes? If it's, this is an easy one. You're with your partner, they ask you, do you want to go to this restaurant or do you want to go to this restaurant? There's one restaurant that in your gut or in your body, it's a body feeling. You're like, ooh, that sounds really, really good. And then you go to that place. That's intuition. That's you being able to connect your desires with your physical reactions. And this is taking it a step further, but really all intuition is being able to identify with your own embodiment. So embodiment is that feeling. It's being able to be like, yes, ooh, good, or like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And think about it, like that's your verbal reaction, like that's how you're expressing it, but like it's coming from an internal feeling. So intuition is where we start. It asks us to look within ourselves, and then we get to use our body to actually decide, like, is this something I do or don't want to do? Is this something that's going to benefit me, or should I pick a different reaction? So if you're looking to get in touch with your intuition, it's going to look different for everybody. For some people, like I said, it's the gut reaction. For some people, it's like a immediate impulsive reaction. I'm in that place right now with my intuition. My intuition right now is impulse. It's like, if it's going left or right, and impulsively I want to go right, I got to go right. That's how my intuition is speaking to me. But either way, it has to boil back down to embodiment work. Does your body feel the resounding yes of the decision you're making in that moment?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely more feeling in the body. Like I feel either like I start feeling bad or like constrained, or I feel like, oh yes, I want to do that.
Nadia, like I can't point out enough. It's almost like for some, we got our wires crossed somewhere where we're told we have to feel good all the time, or we have to feel a certain way. And in a way, what I'd love people to understand is like, no, feel all your feelings, because they tell you so much about your own internal guidance of where you need to be. So even to what you're saying, like the times you felt contracted, or you're like, oh no, that doesn't feel right. Good, listen to that. That's giving you all the answers that you need on your path right now. Because the times you're like, oh yes, and you get to like shimmy about it and like run away with it, like that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. That's when you're in that resounding yes feeling. So move into your body more, speak to your body more, listen more to your body, because you'd be shocked at how often it speaks to us, but we've just been told through just our own culture in the world right now. It's like, oh, you have to feel good, or like, oh, you have to show up to these things, or you have to find a way to show up. No, hon. How do you feel? Does it feel like a full body yes, or are you feeling a little contracted? Because if you're feeling contracted, that's a no for me. Let's find a different way for you to participate in whatever it is that's going to bring you back into the embodiment and the sensation of yes.
Yeah, but I think with the society we live in, we are so conditioned to external things and not listen to our bodies. So this is going to lead my next question, which is, what makes us disconnect from our intuition, and like why do people find it so hard to listen to their intuition?
So it's, oh my gosh, yes, Nadia. It's society. Yes, but I want to take it a step further. I don't want to just assess blame on a very broad idea. I want to take it further to the space of being okay with reprogramming and rewriting our own systems. So our entire childhood built into our adulthood, we're just learning, we're absorbing, we're these sponges. So we're learning what we think is right, what we think is the way things need to be done. And so what happens is when we grow into, whether it's our first spiritual awakening, whether it's our first identity with our intuition, whether it's even just identifying with being our own person for the first time, we feel like we're doing the wrong thing by listening to our intuition if it's different than what we were programmed when we grew up. So if you grow up thinking, I have to go right all the time, I have to go right, and you hit a piece of your life where you're like, actually, left feels better, left sounds better, left supports me better, you're going to tell yourself the entire time you go left that you're doing something wrong by not going right. And so that's where the disconnect of intuition happens. It's when we finally realize that there could be a different solution for us. There could be a different support system. And we have to ask ourselves, are we going to deny what we know is best for us to live in the programming that we've been taught? Or are we going to do the thing that intuitively and innately we know is better for us, even though it's not what we've ever learned before? And there's a big piece of that that's tough. It's internally tough. Our nervous system's like, girl, what are you doing? We are in no man's land. It is the unknown, but it's the best thing for us. And so we disconnect with our intuition every time we know there's a better solution for us, but it's easier to go the other way. You can look at that as a tough conversation with a loved one. If you're avoiding having a tough conversation with a loved one, because intuitively, you know you need to have this conversation, you know it's going to be hard and difficult, but you know it's going to progress your relationship and build every time you avoid the conversation, every time you lie to yourself and say it doesn't need to happen, that's you disconnecting with your intuition. And a common misconception is that it takes a while to get back, that there's like a road we have to rebuild. It just takes one decision coming back home to yourself. If you can come back home to yourself more often than not, you can reconnect with your intuition in that direct moment. It's the opportunity. Connecting back to your intuition is the opportunity to connect back to your most whole self. Disconnecting with your intuition is like people pleasing. It's really following the expectations of others to make it easier on them and on yourself, because you don't have to deal with the shadow work of it. You don't have to deal with the work of it. You don't have to do it. So we disconnect from our intuition every time we know better and we choose not to do it anyway.
Yeah, I think it's very hard for people to get rid of the mind because of all the fear, as you said, and all the conditioning, and especially when it comes to your dreams, because society tells you so many things like, no, you should have a secure job and a paycheck every month, and get married, have children, buy your house. And then whenever you have these urges that, say, for example, I can recognize because I've been dancing all my life. I used to do rhythmic gymnastics, and then when I was 20 something, I moved into dancing. But you are quite old for dancing at 20 something. So I always told myself, no, you can teach dancing or you can go into professional dancing because you are old, so the society conditioning. So I had this desire inside me of dancing because it was one of my biggest passions since I was very little. But because of the conditioning, I will tell myself, no, it's not right. And I think similar things happen to many women because they start feeling scared about how am I going to leave my job, for example, if they desire or the career or a business or something else, or just travel or whatever that is. So it's very hard to stop that, the mind of the shoulds and shouldn't, and really trust that body feeling.
I've eliminated the word should from my vocabulary. It's taken me years, but I have eliminated the word should from my vocabulary. If I was to have planned the current life I have now based on all the shoulds, I would have nothing. I would not be the woman I am. It's actually really funny you brought up dance. I, from high school, moved to Los Angeles to be a professional dancer. I did not go to college. I should have, right? Like you should from college, like from high school, you should go to college. And I threw that out the back window and was like, well, no, professional dancing. And then from the professional dancing thing, what I should have done is go to college probably when I retired that career. And instead, I decided to manage yoga studios and to travel the country, the world, teaching meditation and yoga. And then you could say after that, I should have stayed in that job as long as I could. And instead I flipped that upside down and started my own business because I knew I could do it better anyway. If I was to live my life based on shoulds, I don't think I would be 25. Am I 25? I'm 25. 25, owning a home, a fiance, 2 dogs, all of those things that I so deeply desired would have never come to fruition if I based my entire life off of a set of should haves. I am a firm believer that if you can just clear up the channel, and it can be as simple as an equation, for me at least, and the way I work with my clients, it's desire, right? So you have the desire. After you have the desire, you formulate the plan of like, okay, how do I actualize this desire? What is one small thing I can do every day that gets me closer to that desire? You activate and you integrate from there. So you activate on the plan you've created and you integrate it into your life. You don't, flip upside down everything and decide that you're going to just change the trajectory of your life in that second. But you start to integrate those little things, the desires, and you start to wake up every morning believing that you are that woman more and more and more. And eventually what happens is you look back and you see that you are everything of the woman that you desire to be a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. One of the biggest things I love to do, I love to look at 6-year-old Alex and be like, holy shit, she'd be so proud of me right now. Like 6-year-old Alex would love me. She would think I am the best thing that's happened since sliced bread, and that there's nothing in this world that I could do wrong. And it's all because I didn't live off of those should have. I lived every passion to its absolute fruition. And when that passion was ready to be retired, I was comfortable with not handling the should have or what people were going to think about me. And I stepped into what I knew I was supposed to be doing next, solely based on desire. So to the women in the world that are so deeply suppressed by shoulds, because that's really what it is. It's all these women who should have a job and should have kids and should get married and should have all these things. What I would say to all of those women is eradicate the word should from your life and just ask yourself, what do you want? What do you want? Like, what is the life you want in a year? Who do you want to be? And every time you want that should to come in, or the self-doubt come in, or you have someone in your ear that's saying what you should be doing, I want you to remember, who is going to get in the way of me being the woman I am just destined to be today? Is it going to be your parent? Is it going to be your partner? Is it going to be your friend? Is it going to be who is it? Who is going to be more worth your desire? Because if it's up to me, no one's getting in the way of me today. But you got to come to that too.
Find it yourself.
Exactly. It's a constant. I say it to my clients, and I say it to myself, like, who's going to get in the way of my money today? Who's going to get in the way of my embodiment today? Who's going to get in the way of me being the woman of my dreams? Like, who is going to carry that much weight? No one in this world, because it's completely my responsibility to show up as my most fully expressed divine woman as I possibly can. I would be doing myself a disservice, and I refuse to do that. And I think that I want that statement to so deeply empower women to find that courage within themselves too. Because it's not easy. As much as I'm sitting here and I can like ramble this all out, girl, it's been hard. There's shadow work in there. There's nervous system expansion. There is being able to let people go when they don't align with that vision. I'm not trying to act like that road is easy and like flowers and daisies. It's now I see it, but I would just encourage women to start there, to start with their desires and to eradicate the word should and see how far it gets you.
Yeah, and I think there is nothing wrong with having the job and the kids and all that security, as long as you're not allowing those to stop your dreams. So absolutely. I will say, if you have a dream or a desire about something, just go for it. And it doesn't mean that you need to just quit everything.
Yeah.
Make steps towards getting them there.
That's like the common, like the biggest. Yes, that is like the biggest misconception. I work with women who are starting and building spiritual businesses. And the most common thing that I hear all the time is like, it has to, like, I need this to happen right now. Like I need this to happen. I need to quit this job and I need to have this. And I always bring them back and I'm like, you just need to do one small thing a day to get you closer to your desired result. So if you desire to, even if you're not running a business, if you're just like a therapist, an accountant who has a desire of having a side hustle or a hobby, or has a desire to get into dance and they're in the, their later 20s, which like we can talk about that on a different day for years and years and years. But it's just one small step a day. You don't need to turn your life upside down. You don't need to like shock your nervous system into panic attacks. Like just what's one small thing that you can do today that is going to get you a full step closer to the desire. Time, everything that we desire requires time. And the reason why is because life is not about the destination ever. Life is about the journey every single time. The destination is almost irrelevant, right? Like it's almost irrelevant. Like getting the big job, getting the big dream gig, trust me, I've been there. It's almost irrelevant. The process that you alchemize within to get there is the juice. It's the juicy part of it. It's almost like the end result's just a benefit. We're like, oh, that was cool. Glad that happened. Whereas the process of it's where you learn about yourself. It's where you experience yourself. You experience people, and you get to show up so self-expressed. So I would even encourage people to like drop the need to know where you're going, drop the need to know entirely. Be so invested in the present moment that one small step you take is the biggest, best step you've ever needed to take in the first place.
Yeah, just what's the next step I want to take right
Mm-hmm.
now, and that's it. That I can so relate to it, because in the past I was so focused on the end goal, on the outcome, that I wouldn't enjoy the process, and I would be always frustrated because I was not getting there, because I was not achieving my goals. And that's also going to stop you from being in your body and being the embodiment of all your desires, and even listening to your intuition if you are so disconnected in your mind, in what you can achieve, and always the future.
Exactly. And Nadia, too, it's like we talked about that disconnect to intuition. That's how you disconnect to your intuition. When you are so hungry for the results constantly, and you're so intimidated by what the result is, that you're no longer listening to your intuition of how to get there. You're no longer listening to like why you started the journey in the first place. If desire and intuition are so deeply connected, then that means we have to keep them so deeply connected the entire process. We don't get to have the desire, intuitively figure out how to do it, and then throw into intuition in the backseat and be like, oh, whatever, I'll just take action to get there. No, like you have to constantly be checking in with yourself. Like, is this the most intuitive way for me to show up? It's like, even I call myself an intuitive business coach and an intuitive healer because I can show you all my million modalities. We can use tarot, crystals, we can use meditation, journaling. We could use all these different ways for you to self-actualize. But if you're not intuitively asking yourself in this moment, what do I need today? Then you're not building the proper foundation for yourself to actually achieve your result.
Yeah, absolutely. And like when it comes to strategies or like what you can do or the next steps, when someone is telling you what to do, but you're not taking with yourself, you're going to be taking the wrong steps. So it's super important that you are always in the present and constantly checking with that intuition what feels truly right for you.
Yeah, I love the question. I love when clients come to me and they're like, I just don't want to make the wrong decision. And my instant question or reaction to that question is always, the only wrong decision you'll ever make is one based out of anything but your intuition. So the only wrong answer you're ever going to get, the only wrong decision you're ever going to make is when you disconnect from your intuition and make a decision out of expectations or shoulds. If you're asking yourself, intuitively, what is the best thing for me to do right now? What feels like the best decision? And then you activate on that, that was the right decision. So no one can tell you right from wrong. And when it comes to your own personal life, no one can tell you to go left or right. You really have to constantly be in that connection with yourself. And what I can tell you is from creating this relation to my intuition, it gets better. It gets to get better every time. In the beginning, it's not familiar and you're like, wow, this feels crazy. I can't believe I just made a decision not based on logic. But then you get to a point where it's natural, and then you get to a point where it's necessary, and then you get to a point where it's just the automatic. You don't question anything. And the result of that is getting to live a life of liberation. You are liberated from anyone else's paradigm that they've put you in. You are liberated from the box anyone's ever put you in. You get to live as your most fully expressed self, which is really the only purpose we have in this life, is to live so radically vulnerable and so fully expressed that we have no choice but to find our own joy.
This conversation is powerful. Oh my God.
My favorite conversation, Nadia, I'm not kidding. It's my favorite conversation to have. My favorite conversation to have.
So how is intuition related or connected with manifestation?
Oh, girl, there's no such thing as manifestation without intuition. Let's go back to our equation, right? As we talked about desire. So we have desire, and desire doesn't come out of nowhere. It's not like you wake up one day and like someone told you to have a desire. Desire is a fully internal thing. And then we use our intuition to activate on it. So like intuitively, how do you act next? Manifestation is the subconscious work that we're doing in the background to help elevate our frequency and our vibration to make us available to the desire. So I'll give you an example. You can look at desires like dreams. Dreams are something that we aspire to be within, but we're not there yet. So it takes work. And we can do the physical work. We can, create spaces physically in our life for it. But if mentally we're not in a place to receive it, we can't have it yet. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you want to be a doctor and you go to college and you do all the physical work. You get through all the schooling and then you get through all the medical school. If you can't show up to that final test mentally and do it, you can't be a doctor. If you do show up to the test and you have your first practice, but every time you step in the room, you don't trust yourself, you can't trust the knowledge that you've curated, you can't trust the practitioner that you've become, you can't be a doctor. There's so much subconscious mental work that needs to come with backing what you're doing. So in my line of work, what people will manifest is things like clients and money. That's like the two big things they get. So they'll want more clients so that they can make more money. And so what happens is they're manifesting this idea of like, I need. That's scarcity. That is, you don't need anything. The first thing with it is you ground yourself back into gratitude. What do you have in this moment? And then you use your manifestations, you use it to start to feel that embodiment piece into where you're going. So in my line of work, and when anyone's using intuition, manifestation is allowing you to sit deeper with your desires. It's allowing you to visualize where you're going. It's giving you almost like a fantasy framework of how you are going to navigate yourself to get where you want to go. So I always say, if you can build a great relationship with your intuition and you can start to manifest from such a deep sense of gratitude and like belief that you are worthy of what you are desiring, you will always get to where you're going. Manifestation is the belief in self. It's being able to believe that the work that you're doing is powerful enough and that you're worthy enough of doing that work to achieve the desire or the dream. So your intuition is kind of like, this is what I'll say. Your intuition is like the framework. Think of it as a picture. So your intuition is the thing that's drawing the lines and it's helping you decide like, ooh, what do I want this picture to look like? Manifestation is the color. It's like, ooh, I want a little bit of green here, blue there. I want to paint this and I want it to be rich and beautiful and luxurious. Like that's what we get to dive into. Manifestation is, it's so cliche now and you'll hear it as in like, you don't have to work for it. Like if you just manifest it, it'll happen. And I would just like to take a second to like debunk that. Like, no, that's not it. There is action involved, but the beauty of what manifestation does is it gives you an internal visual and a roadmap of like, oh, this is how beautiful it gets to be. And this is why I'm worthy of it. And I could see myself living in that world and having all those things. And it makes the body create a reaction. And when, like we already talked about, when the body has the reaction, we get to live within the frequency of our desires. We get to live in the vibration of our desires. Frequency and vibrational work is something that seems so far-fetched to people. Like, it's like, oh my God, frequency, what is that? And quite literally all it means is you being an energetic match for what you desire. If you desire money, be an energetic match for the money you desire. That means spending money. That means being in the feeling of having money, not feeling like you don't have enough money. You desire love, be in the frequency of love. Love yourself, love what you own, love the things around you, overindulge in love. That's how you become energetic matches. And it's almost like manifestation is the gateway between both. It's like the bridge.
Yeah, I see.
That was my very long rant on manifestation. I'm so sorry.
I love this topic as well because now, as you say, it's become so trendy, and a lot of people are like, oh, doing all the affirmations and all the things, and they still can manifest, and they ask why and what's wrong. But the thing is, like, if you're trying to manifest and doing all the affirmations and trying all these things from your mind, but then your body, your nervous system is getting triggered and you can't embody and feel the feeling of that you want to manifest, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I would look at manifestation as another modality. Like the same way you could use crystals, tarot cards, and meditation, manifestation is just another vessel to getting to embodiment. So I'll give you an example how I use manifestation with my intuition. So if intuitively I am calling in, I'll give you this example. I'm getting married next year. So there's a lot of visual work I've been doing about what I want that day to look like and what I want to wear and what I want my mom to wear and how I want my bridesmaids to feel. And so rather than getting down on all the negative things of like, how much is that going to cost me? What if the hairstylist doesn't show up? And what you can go that route, or you can use manifestation as a way to feel into that moment and to actualize it. So for that example, if I want to manifest something for my wedding, I typically intuitively ask myself, like, is this coming from a place of desire or a place of expectation? Like, am I doing this because I feel I should, or like, do I really want this? Once I can intuitively decide, like, I definitely want that for my wedding, I can see it, I feel it, great. I'll stay with myself in meditation, close my eyes, and I just visualize, how do I feel when I experience that thing? What does it look like? How is my fiance, then husband, going to feel? Then my mom's in the corner and the music's playing, and it becomes this experience where now I can feel it. So when I walk away from that meditation, I'm not walking away not only just with the visualization of it, but with the feeling of it. And I use that feeling to call in everything I need to make it happen. So I'll take that feeling and maybe I sit with a budget sheet and I'm like, how am I going to make this work? I want this really badly. Or I'll take that feeling and start a Pinterest board so I can visualize it more and like start to really feel what I want for that day. And before you know it, you look back and you're like, oh, I did it. I made it happen. Like that's one of my biggest, I can't wait for my wedding, is being able to go through that day being like, I envisioned this for so long and I felt into the feeling for so long that to now finally feel it. It's like the most beautiful, gorgeous feeling in the entire world. So yeah, manifestation, it's just a vehicle. It's a vehicle for you to feel into what you are calling into your life.
That's amazing. So what examples of how can people reconnect with their intuition? Like what easy things they can do on their own to start reconnecting with that intuition?
Okay, so I'm going to give everyone a task right now. What I want you to do is finish this podcast, continue, like get to the end of it. And instead of doing what your to-do list said to do next, I want you to ask yourself, what do I feel like doing right now? And that can be tough, right? Because our intuition might be like, girl, I want to sit and I want to binge watch Netflix. That's what I want to do right now, but I can't do that right now. And then that's where I want you to ask yourself, can't you? Like, can't you? I want you to connect back to your intuition right after this by just simply asking yourself, what do I do next? What is the next thing I should do? And notice how your body reacts. And that's how you start this journey, is by taking little decisions every single day, every moment, and asking yourself, what do I really want to do versus what should I be doing? And remember, if we're eradicating the word should from our vocabulary, then we get to move more from what we want and what we desire. And the more we move from our desire, the more we move from our intuition. So that's the first thing I would do, is after this podcast, ask yourself, what do I want to do next? What is the next thing I'm doing today? And move from the intuitive side of it, not from the should have, to-do list, expectation side. On a bigger picture, I would start to really connect with what you desire with your life big picture, because the little stuff will happen every single day. So the way you can connect to your intuition right after this is deciding, what do you want for your life? What do you really, truly desire? And noticing in your life, where are you acting out of alignment to that? So we've been talking about what we can start doing, but what can you stop doing? And maybe that's the path of least resistance for you to start connecting to your intuition, is to stop doing things that don't feel in alignment with who you are and what light you up. So if it's not in alignment to eat or to have breakfast the way you've been having breakfast, change your morning routine. Make it feel juicy and flowy and light to you. Have that be the first thing that steps you closer to your intuition. Just as much as we can activate on what we should be doing, it's also about not doing the things that make us feel in not alignment with our highest selves and not alignment with our intuition. It's like that beautiful balance of both.
The first example has been such a game changer in my own business, because I always been a lot in my masculine energy, and I always was like this very disciplined and responsible, and I need to get this done, and I have my to-do list and get through the things. And since I started to work with human design, and I understood how important it was for me to live in my pleasure and be in satisfaction in the present moment, I started to give myself permission to do the things I wanted to do. So naturally, I went into asking myself, what do I want to do? Even though I have things in my to-do list that need to get done, but I still just move through my to-do list, just check in with myself what I want to do now. And if I don't want to do something, I just leave it for tomorrow or do it whenever I feel like. And it's changed everything. Like my days flow a lot more. I don't feel any sort of stress. this is really, really so powerful to do that type of work, but it takes strength.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
From the shoes and be like, I give myself full permission to do just what I want to do.
And I love that, Nadia, because I think we need more business coaches and coaches in general from that place, like from the place of just what feels good to me. I tell my clients, literally, I think it's every day at this point, the universe loves two things. It loves decisive action, and it loves for you to have fun. The universe wants you to have it all. It wants you to manifest your dreams. It wants you to live in your desires. We subconsciously are the ones that are putting the roadblocks up. So even in what you're saying, I made the decision that I'm going to give myself permission to do the things that light me up, which is joy, which is fun, which the universe loves that. So the more and more you activate from that place, the more and more you're going to get done. It's going to feel better for you, and you're going to receive tenfold because of the place in which it's coming from. It's not coming from a place of force, of hustle, of should. It's literally being brought to fruition just simply from the idea of like, it was fun and it felt good. If you can tell yourself like it's fun and it feels good, do it all the time. Do it over and over again. Make it repetitive. It's meant to be that way.
More things that are good and fun are going to come your way.
Exactly. You are an attraction. You attract everything that you put out. Everything is a mirror. So like you and I, Nadia, from the very first conversation we had, we were mirrors for each other of like, this is how good life gets to be. Yeah, this is how good life gets to be. This is how incredible intuition is. Yeah, look at our intuition right now. So if you're experiencing a disconnection from your intuition, if you're experiencing a lot of trauma, tragedy, like ask yourself, like, where am I being a mirror for this? Like, where am I emitting this energy and this vibration to be receiving it? And if you can start to eradicate that piece of it, game changer, big game changer. It starts really from you, right? So if you're emitting fun, if you're emitting pleasure, if you're emitting receptivity, that's exactly what you're going to receive in return. You're going to receive pleasure and fun, and you're going to receive the things that you're really looking to desire. I call it a clear channel. Be a clear channel for everything you desire, and don't muddy your own waters with self-sabotage, with the should haves. Everything that muddies it, get it away. Keep it clear, crystal. I like to think of it as like my opalite crystal. Like it's like fun and it's beautiful and it's a little bit blue and pink and purple. Like keep it fun and light and airy. Anything that's like black, hard, and like just tough on it, or get rid of it. Get rid of it. You don't need it. Thank you, next. Thank you, Ariana Grande. That'll be a no for me.
Yeah, and it's funny because your mind tries to tell you, no, if you just do the things that you love and you don't get things done, like nothing is gonna get done. But actually, when you just focus on the things that you want to do and when you feel like doing them, at least for me, it has created more flow, more ease, and I get things done in a much quicker way. Like it's crazy. Yeah. You don't even know how it happens. But yesterday actually I was getting through my to-do list and doing a few things, and I thought it was going to take me longer. I was like, oh my God, this was so easy. I just did it. I finished. Okay, let's go relax. Let's go in the sun and read.
Yep. And it gets to be that easy. And I think that's the hard part. So there's this thing that happens with all my clients when they reach their first like consistent cash months, and they're like, oh, I don't need my job anymore. So then they quit their job, and then they realize they have all this free time, and they're like, oh, I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to create more. I have to do this. And I'm like, you don't have to do any of that. What you should do, what you are supposed to do right now is ask yourself, like, what can I do with this space and this time? Like, what would feel good for me to do right now? It's what you're speaking to is really just hustle culture. It's this idea that we have to feel like we have to constantly be doing really tough things. Otherwise, we're not working. You are totally in the alignment of your work if you're doing them from the source of fun and of pleasure. It's just you're choosing to do it from a way better space than a negative space of feeling like you have to do something or something has to be done the way that you've been taught it has to be done. It's completely turning hustle culture upside down and allowing ourselves to live in the pleasure of our lives without feeling like we're not doing enough.
I love it.
It's my jam. It's my everyday.
Yeah, it's getting to be mine as well, and it's absolutely brilliant.
It is. It's so lovely when I wake up in the morning. I was talking to somebody and I was like, I'm not a morning person. So I was like 8, like I'm trying to get up at 8. and I have a slow morning. I read, I make food for my dogs, I enjoy the light, I let it come in. And no matter how hard I try, I can't sit in front of my laptop before noon just because I just take such a slow morning. And I was talking to friends like, noon, half the day's gone. And I was like, for you, but I end my day at 5, so I'm okay. I'm not feeling that at all. And the more and more you can lean into that and know that like you're doing the most impactful work when you're doing the work that lights you up, time is irrelevant. It's just something that helps me monitor where the sun is at that moment.
Life gets to be easy and fun. That's really the message, because we think we need to be living life fighting and with all this resistance, and it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't.
So what personal advice would you like to give to our listeners?
The first thing, if you haven't gotten this already, start connecting with your intuition right now. Like right now in this moment. It's your best friend. It's your guiding force. It's everything that you've always had and never knew that you needed. Like get in touch with your intuition right now. My second piece of advice for anybody who is doing this work is, because you are connected to your intuition, self-doubt and imposter syndrome and negative self-talk, self-harm, like all of those things, it's just ways that your nervous system is trying to keep you safe. So without getting too far into it, your nervous system is really created to keep you safe primally. Our nervous system was here because we were trying to like live out in the world and trying not to like die, essentially. I know it sounds really dramatic, but like that's literally why we have nervous systems. Like when it's hot, yeah, like when that surface is hot, don't touch it. That's your nervous system. When a car is passing by, don't run in the middle of the street. That's your nervous system keeping you safe, showing you what would happen. So when you start listening to your intuition, you're going to do a lot of going against the grain. You're going to do a lot of doing the thing that you've never done before. You're going to do a lot of stepping outside of your comfort zone. And I want everyone to know that the self-talk, the imposter syndrome, the doubt, it's literally just your nervous system trying to keep you safe. So thank your nervous system, thank your body for doing its primal thing, and come back to your intuition and do the thing anyway. I've literally, my nervous system, whenever it comes up, whenever imposter syndrome comes up, I'm like, am I in danger right now? Like, am I in danger? Am I going to die if I make this decision? No? Great. I'm going to go ahead and do my intuition. Thank you so much, nervous system. Love that for us. Let's keep going. That would be my second piece of advice, is that like the self-talk, the self-doubt, the imposter, it's normal. And it's going to keep happening. It's never going to go away. The more and more you expand, the more and more your nervous system is going to want to keep you safe. So you're better off just creating a better relationship with it than trying to suppress it. And then my last piece is that just live in your light. Live in the light that you were so uniquely given, intuition or not. If you can identify the one unique and special thing about you that cannot be carbon copied, because there is something in all of us. If you can speak to that, live within that, and start to show that. And I don't mean show as in like change who you are, but instead like empower yourself with it and let it radiate from you. Your life begins to, like, your life changes. And it didn't require any action from you other than being so radically self-expressed that no one could deny you of your light.
Oh, let's take a breath to sink that in. Oh gosh.
Please, yes. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Okay, so just before we finish, I would love to know what's something you are absolutely in love right now in your life that's lighting your soul up.
I am absolutely obsessed with this question. It, like, you can see the smile on my face. Like, I just thank you, because I don't do anything that doesn't light my soul literally on fire.
Yeah, I can see after these conversations.
Yeah, like literally, I don't do anything. Like, I can't stress to you enough how much I don't do anything that doesn't light my soul on fire. And I am a manifesting generator. So naturally, you're going to know I'm going to give you more than one answer, right? Like we have multiple things right now. I would say, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I have a ways till my wedding. I have like 18 months. I'm not getting married till next year, but this is like the crunch time of really planning it. And my maid of honor is helping me with dresses, and I'm planning things with my bridesmaids, and we're having a Galentine's Day at the end of the month. Like, there's just a bunch of things that get to collect my family together. And I think that's the thing that's like really like forefront of my heart that's lighting me up the most. And then I think honestly, Nadia, what's lighting me up the most that my soul is so deeply invested in right now is the incredible relationships that I have in my life. I am so blessed that I've been able to rebuild from this place of my spiritual awakening, an incredible relationship with my family, my parents, my siblings. And in a way, those are things I haven't had in the past. So I'm just really, really grateful for the way in which I've been so radically within myself that it is so well received. So that's like the internal stuff that's lighting me up. And then other than that, I've just for the last year been deeply into human design. So that's been like my entire world has shifted because of it. And then the last thing, I told you I was going to have a bunch. The last thing that's lighting me up, I have the joy of working. One of my clients is a plant specialist. She teaches people how to grow and sustain plants. And so I just redid my office so that I can deck it out with plants. And I am so excited.
I love plants. Well, you can see there are a couple that I have more in my terrace.
Yes, like I'm obsessed. I like bought a bunch for downstairs. I named them all. So like love them. But like she's helping me create, I've always wanted this room to be like my mini jungle sanctuary. And essentially that's what she's doing with me. So like on a physical realm, like what I can physically tell you I'm obsessed with right now is the plants I'm putting in my room. That sounds really crazy, but like that's my life right now. I'm getting married in plants.
Really good to me.
I'm getting married in my plants. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much. So how can people find you? In which platforms they can find you? What are you doing right now? Any specific programs or anything you want to share?
Yeah, thank you. So you can find me on Instagram at Alexandria Cordero. I'll come up as an intuitive healer and a business coach. So right now, what I have the opportunity to hold for women is I basically help spiritual women build out their businesses or start to create consistent cash flow. So you identify as a yoga teacher, as a light worker, as a astrologer, anything really. Even like I have one of my clients, she works with gut health, anything that you can identify as healing somebody from the inside. So I work with you. I help you build out really, really intuitive businesses. And I really kind of like this conversation. I base everything from desire. So I'm not selling you a strategy. I'm not selling you anything other than connecting you back to who you are so deeply and truthfully on the inside so that you can build literally the life of your dreams. So I do that one-on-one with women. And I also have a really, really awesome new offer coming up. It's called Spicy Spiritual Sales. And it's basically for women to start to create cosmic cash. So I have created an 8-week system for myself to influx consistent high cash money. And it all had to do with stepping into my human design. So I'm helping women use their design charts as well as their own frequencies to call in high cash, no matter what you do. So those are my 2 offers right now. Spicy Spiritual Sales will be launching by the end of February. So if you're interested, please let me know. Otherwise, my one-on-one coaching, I keep as a very sacred container. So I don't really have like an opening and closing of enrollments with it. It's just when you feel called to do the work, I am here to hold the container for you. So that's what's going on in my business world. If you are interested, please shoot me a DM. Or if you just want to talk, like you want to talk about this, let's do it. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram. I will keep you updated with all of my wedding things as well as my business things.
I will leave all the links in the description, and please go find her. She's so powerful and so magnetic. And as you see after this conversation, she just lifts your energy. So
thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today and for this beautiful conversation.
Oh, absolutely, Nadia. I'm so excited to listen to the entire series, and I would be more than happy to geek out about everything we geeked out on again. I would love to continue this conversation. So thank you for having me. It's an honor, it's a pleasure, and I'm grateful.
It was a pleasure to have you. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please subscribe, share it, tag me and Alex and share your thoughts and what came up for you with us. I would love to connect with you. Follow me on Instagram, where you can find more of what I do and reach me out on the DMs. And I will see you in the next episode, Powerful Wives and Magical Being.